Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Ooh, pardon me, that's not how the intro is supposed to go. Ah, that lovely little throat-clearing experience aside, my name is Dark Sage Walker, and today we are going to be doing the Spotlight episode for Wavefront. Now, as you can see, I kind of already have it set up, and that's mostly because I had started to do this afternoon, and multiple things kind of happened to pull me out of the experience. Like, it was just a bad recording. So we are going to try it again. I already have the build all set up, though I think I do want to change the signature. But to kind of go over Wavefront, it is just a big ball of water that you create and then throw out ahead of you. Now, one of the things that you may or may not know about Wavefront already is that while you have that sphere of water around you, that is acting as a shield. I believe it briefly shields you, so it allows you to tank a hit or two. Not very strong hits, because I believe that shield only has 25 HP, but when you get the upgrade for it, it goes up to 50 HP. It's just a nice little quality of life thing to have to help you eat through some hits that you would otherwise be obligated to take. You can just say, nah, not today. And just have that be that. Alright, so I think today I have kind of a semi-dragon themed run here, so we're gonna go Dragon Arc and Dragon Dive. This ought to be fun, so let's go ahead and get our retro floor plan. It's gonna take a little bit for it to show up, as it usually does. And I know the last time I said I wasn't going to choose my starting place, and kind of ended up getting a little punished for it. So I want to run by you guys the idea that I am not necessarily saying that you shouldn't, or that I shouldn't do it. But it is something that I've been thinking about, and that is that I don't necessarily want to always start in the same place. Because I want my runs to feel varied. Now this time around, because I have a standard and the basic that Atlas is going to resist, I will start with Atlas. But I'm trying to keep from doing that as much as possible to make sure that my runs get varied. And that's just the thought process I'm working with. Now, as you can see, Wavefront is very good at pushing enemies away from you, so you can try to maintain some space. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, yes, please, if you don't mind. But the shielding also means that you can use it to just kind of tank through a hit or two, and continue an offense. Of course, the drawbacks to Wavefront are... Oh, there you go. There's one of them, is that it only gets one charge. The other is that it's got a particularly long cooldown time, or at least it feels like it does. It's not the only dash that has a 5-second cooldown, but it sure feels like it's a particularly long and obnoxious cooldown period. Especially when you're trying to rely on it to get something done and it's just not there. You end up taking a couple of hundred damage in one room because, well, you don't have your dash ready. Not gonna lie, this particular run, it feels like I'm not doing so great. But I'm not gonna give up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put myself in even more danger. Because with this robe, getting that upgrade is a very important part of things. I'm thinking I might want Hammer of Atlas. Just something that hits all around me for when things get a little crazy. Alright. I will not be taking that. I find it to be a little bit inconsistent in its needs. So, we move on to the next floor with obviously a very obviously in a very questionable position. But I'm definitely not trying to use up a health potion this early in the run. But I would be lying if I said that I was comfortable with where I'm at right now. Hold on. Yes, I can give her Dragon Dive. Okay, well that worked out well. But why didn't she take Dragon Dive? I thought it was the one you've had for the longest amount of time, not the shortest. Huh, well, consider me highly confused. Now, as I was trying to record this earlier and was having problems, one of the things that I kept coming back to as I was thinking about it is is Wavefront as good as it used to be, or even as good as I'm making it out to be? Because it does seem as though Wavefront isn't as effective as it once was. Well, Ring of Reserves will definitely help. Now, I don't know if this is a particular spell that's seen some particularly nasty nerfs. I can imagine it was, because, let's be fair, this particular one has been a very popular water-based choice for a while. But it does feel like whatever position it was in a while, like when the game first launched, it is not in anymore. Now, I bring that up as someone who's been using Wavefront since the game launched. It just doesn't feel like it used to. I don't know if it's the long cooldown, or if it's just doesn't have as much range as it used to. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't feel like the same Arcana as when I first started playing. And I'm saying that as someone who really likes Wavefront. I think the shielding is great. I think the idea that it has a nice wide range and really strong knockback for annoying mooks is wonderful. I just wonder if, like, is it actually weaker than I remember it, or is the problem that nowadays I play mostly with Retro Floor Plan active, so it feels weaker by comparison because I have less room to play around. We will be talking about that one later on. Oh, pardon me. So let's take inventory of what we've got going for us, going into the level with the twins. Alright, so we will definitely take Seismic Entry. I also like the Paralytic Venom Stone, so I'll probably grab that. And we'll just see what else the floor has in store for us. Now, I will say that allowing this particular Arcana to have multiple uses might be a little unbalanced considering how much this Arcana can do. But I really feel like because it is an option that has uses both offensively and defensively, I really wish that they would at least lower its cooldowns. So for right now, what I will say is that this does seem to have a lot of the same issues as a lot of the other Dash Arcanas that only get one use have. I'm sure you can hear Cecil in the background just going, "Hey, what about me?" Like, not to sound callous, buddy, but this is kind of about my audience right now. But I'm sure everyone is happy to hear from you. There we go. That's looking much better. I was getting a little worried there. And obviously, what you just saw there is part of the problem. Or at least what you should expect when you're playing with the retro floor plan is a lot of battled arenas that just have very tight corridors. Not corridors, quarters. Alright, we'll grab that. And I don't think there's anything else there I'm really thinking I want. Now, if you're noticing that I'm not saying much about Wavefront, it's mostly just because what Wavefront does is pretty self-explanatory, but there are some uses that I haven't really said much about, such as the idea that it pushes enemies essentially along with it as you're moving forward. What that's good for is if you dash into a group of enemies to push them into the wall, you can then follow up with something melee-based to continue the combo. You know, keep them on hit stun and keep your momentum going. That's probably one of the best uses I can think of for an aggressive use for Wavefront. I mean, that's kind of precisely why I say, because it has so many uses and so many things that it can do, it really needs a shorter cooldown in order to be really good. So, I don't know, maybe what I'm noticing is that... Well, first of all, I want this. But maybe what I'm noticing is just how limiting it can be having a dash that has a particularly long cooldown on retro floor plan difficulty levels. Because you have so much more that you need to worry about and so many more obstacles that's... I guess when I say obstacles, I mean more things trying to kill you. It just really helps to have a little... It helps to have a little bit more going for you and not a little bit less. If that makes sense. we can chalk that up to a kind of playstyle difference, because one thing that I'm painfully aware of is that sometimes things that are useful in other scenarios aren't always good in a slightly different sense. So whereas I've gotten used to really being able to rely on Wavefront, as of late it's been more difficult to do that because the environment with the Retro floor plan on is so much different. Because trust me, even though the enemies have less HP, the idea that there's so many more of them is definitely something that needs to be considered. So, because you're spending more time dodging attacks, that also means you're spending less time setting up your dash. Which means it actually helps to have more dashes that have more incidental power than anything else on this difficulty level. That having been said, I still really like Wavefront and think it's particularly powerful. It's just, I have to understand that that power is a bit more limited when there's so many more enemies that you deal with. So, I think I just answered my own question there. No, it's not weaker, it's just that I'm playing differently. So, there you go. Alright. Okay. Well. Ow. Why would you put a fairy in a treasure chest? That's just cruel. Honestly, I don't think I need a bunch of assistance against the twins. Oops, I should have jumped forward. There we go. We will not even look at Laced Lightning. Wow, their firewalls last so long. Alright, let's change that up. So I suppose the other reason why I'm not talking much about Wavefront is because hopefully it's been pretty plainly obvious what it does. Yes, I have to acknowledge. I have to at least acknowledge the idea that it's not quite as effective as it is without the retro floor plan, because you can actually plan out how to use it better in the environment where that's not a thing. Grab that. And as you may have surmised, I'm in a bit of trouble just because of all the crap that's flying around. That is a retro floor plan thing. I don't think it's necessarily my build is weak, I think it's just the enemies are strong. Which, yes, you could also classify that as the build is weak if you want to, but I really don't think it is. What I will say is that because the retro floor plan environment is one that's difficult to get this to work in, it could be doing better. So because of that, at least as far as using the retro floor plan is concerned, it's better to have a dash that has an effect that lasts longer, which obviously, unfortunately, is not this one. Because the way that they want you to use Wavefront is very deliberate. And when there's this many enemies around, sometimes what you need is more control. I'm also playing a good deal slower than I usually do because I'm at such low health. Okay, now we have some things that I think will help. Also, let's not be a fool. One thing that the Flame Knights are doing that's a little scary is throwing out those long-lasting flame blades. Unfortunately, is another thing that I can't really rely on Wavefront to help me out with. So, unfortunately, it's gonna sound like I'm really down on Wavefront, which I'm not. I really like Wavefront. I think it's got a lot of power and a lot of really strong uses. But I also think that, and this is probably by design, when you're playing with the retro floor plan active, different things become better in different situations. I know that sounds really obvious, but sometimes you don't think about it until you actually put it into words for yourself. There we go. So, take my kind of negative opinion with a grain of salt, because the fact of the matter is, I think Wavefront is really powerful. It's just more powerful when you are playing on regular difficulty and have more time and have a little bit more time to use your dash, like whichever dash Arcana you're using, a bit more deliberately. But that having been said, don't take the negative parts of what I've said as this one is bad. Take it as this one is so good that they had to develop a whole new difficulty level just to nerf it. That's my headcanon anyway. I know it's not true, but oh well. There we go. Right, grab that, and it's pretty safe to say that we want Dice of the Nemesis. Here we go. I think I'm also going to drop that. Alright. Normally, I'm all for keeping Mirror Shield, just the way the build is working out, I would rather forego that for Dice of the Nemesis. This is the perfect environment to get it to work. There we go. Got it to work right there. Okay, I thought I was going to be able to use Wavefront to get through his Shock Nova, but no. Sometimes, it's also possible that there's a part of me that overestimates Wavefront. I don't know. I think that might be it. I think I overestimate Wavefront. But also keep in mind that this is probably the first time I've said that. Should give you a pretty good idea as to how I value Wavefront. Obviously, obviously, I say, hey, if you're having trouble, you have enemies that are coming up on you a little bit too fast, a little bit too hard. Give Wavefront a try. It does a lot for your run. Just be mindful of the cooldown times, because this one takes a little bit to get back online. That's going to do it for now, so thank you all very much for tuning in. I appreciate you coming and spending your free time with me. If you could do the usual YouTube stuff to help the channel grow, I would be very appreciated. You guys have a fantastic day or night wherever you may be. I apologize for the little delay there. My body's telling me that I need to get a drink of water, so I am going to go do that now. So thank you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker. Take care, everybody.